Hey, what's up everybody? I am Kyle, welcome back to my channel, and I've got two stories for you today, right? Not a lot of them, but two significant ones that you should be aware of. And you've probably heard by now already because this is a couple days old news, but I'm gonna tell you why it's so significantly important. The news is Russia is attempting to ban cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And what does this mean, right? This is huge. In my opinion, means we're going to war. And this is something I've been saying for a long time, and what I have been telling people for a long time seems to be coming true. Check it out, this is really informative. I'll tell you in a second. And the second thing I'm gonna talk about today is that there was a hacker that's attempting or sold tens of thousands of Ledger, Trezor, and Keepkey hardware wallet databases. So if you own one of these hardware wallets, you definitely need to watch this to make sure that you're okay and what you need to do about it. All right, guys, thank you so much. Make sure you please like, subscribe, follow, drop a comment down below. I'd love to read some comments and answer some questions you might have. Remember, use me as a resource. I'd love to answer questions. You can also go and participate in the Master Ventures community channel that I have on Telegram. But just drop some questions down below in the comment section. I'd be happy to answer them. Also, if you want me to talk about anything in particular, please drop that down below too. I'm more than happy to do that. That's why I'm here. I want to educate, and feel free to use me as a resource. I've been around a long time, more than most other YouTubers, 2012, and I've done a lot of things in the space. So I feel like I've got a pretty good, well-rounded perspective on things. And if this is your first time watching my channel or you haven't seen my intro yet, feel free to go check that out. It's like a 1-minute clip. I'll link it somewhere here, in the comments down below. But it's just a brief intro, gives you a little bit of idea of who I am and what I'm doing. All right, so check that out too. Thank you, guys. All right, guys, let's jump into this. So we have really just two stories I'm gonna tell you about today, but they are really important, right? And I've been in the space since 2012. And it was abundantly clear to me that there was going to be a war. And I'm not sure what kind of war that's going to be. But when you have a certain amount of people that are controlling the entire world through the systems that they created, which are centralized, behind closed doors, shady, and really designed to not be disrupted. When you challenge those, there's going to be problems. I've told all my employees this too before. I said, listen, you have to realize that what we're doing is we're going to war. And I mean, I don't know if it really sets in to everyone's mind when I say this, but we're just starting to see the beginning of this. So the first story I want to dive into today is talking about Russia and how it's going to ban, potentially, crypto and blockchain. It's interesting because Russia has gone back and forth on this, right, for a while. I mean, Vitalik Buterin was there chatting with Putin, and I just don't think Putin understood the potential for disruption of the very power that he held, right? And I guess recently somebody must have been like, that decentralization means that there's going to be transparency and that there'll be true democracy with voting, and that you probably just can't keep the throne forever, unless everyone loves that, of course. And when this sunk in, they were just like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe let's just keep things the way they've been, because, if you're running things, life is pretty good, right? So anyway, let's dive into this story. It says, Russia proposes law that criminalizes buying Bitcoin with cash. Offenders face 7 years in jail. And that's just the beginning. Russian lawmakers have proposed new laws that seek to ban the use of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in the country, local media reported. According to draft bills submitted by a group of deputies to the Russian parliament recently, individuals may face up to 7 years in prison and fines of up to $7,000 for using BTC in financial transactions. Now, let me be clear here. $7,000 for somebody in a Western society like the States or Europe, that's something that is still hefty by anyone's count. But it's not going to be a life ruiner. But the salaries in Russia are significantly lower than they are in somewhere like the States. And that is a hefty fine. I don't know what the conversion would be, but it's probably something like $50,000 equivalent or something, right? So it is hefty. People will also be penalized for buying crypto with cash or transferring to accounts opened with Russian banks. Okay, well, this is obvious. You just don't work with banks. But while that might sound obvious, there's not a lot of infrastructure built up yet for peer-to-peer buying of Bitcoin cryptocurrencies, right? So a lot of people still, because they're not comfortable meeting up with somebody on the streets that they met on something like local Bitcoins or something, they're still using things like Coinbase, which are linked to bank accounts, which are allowing buying of cryptocurrencies. So it makes it a bit more difficult to go buy if you're not linking to banks. If signed into law, so it's not law yet, but it looks like it probably will be. I'll be following this closely, and when we have more news, I will let you know as we do. If signed into law, the bills will punish companies that issue or operate virtual currencies without approval from the Russian central bank, with fines of up to 2 million rubles or about $28,000. Okay, so that's even more ludicrous, right? Based on what I just said before, 28,000 is something, the equivalent of, I don't know, $75,000, $100,000. It is significant, right? Enough to bankrupt somebody or a company. So I want to talk about this part where it says virtual currencies without approval from Russian central bank. So that means, and they're not even saying like crypto, they're just saying digital currencies, or virtual. So what they probably will end up doing is creating a central bank digital currency, because of course that means more control for the central banks and the fiat system. However, that's probably the only thing that's going to be allowed to be produced. Furthermore, for violation of the rules for transactions with cryptocurrencies, if they are used as a payment for goods or services, companies would have to pay the equivalent of 1 million rubles or $13,900, and individuals at least 200,000 rubles or $2,800. The draft bills were lodged with Russia's Ministry of Economic Development earlier this week, says a report published by local news company RBC on May 21st. One of the proposed laws plans to completely stop digital assets from being used as a means of payments by citizens or corporations. This is insane. So they're just, okay, it gets even more crazy as we go on, right? But if you're not going to allow virtual currencies for payments, I guess the only other purpose you could have is for a store of value, right? But let's get into that. People that already hold digital assets will be forced to register them with Russia's tax agency and explain how they acquired them. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a huge line of people that can't wait to talk to the tax authority about how they acquired their Bitcoin and Monero and other virtual currencies. Another bill proposed to add new sections to the country's criminal law for illegal operations with cryptocurrencies. Companies that issue or circulate digital financial assets using sites registered in Russia or technical equipment located in Russia are especially liable under the second draft proposal. Penalties may be compounded by both individuals and firms if major or especially large damage was caused to citizens, organizations, or the states, or if these actions led to enrichment on especially large scale. So basically what they're saying here is if you create a project and people lose money on it, which that can mean that if you create an ICO or something and it goes down at all, which is inevitable, it's going to happen. Everything's volatile, right? So it's really hard where to draw that fine line of just, are there any damages that occur? But especially if the founders are enriched or made money from this, you're especially screwed, right? But you're screwed either way always. And I don't even know why they're even discussing this, because it sounds like you're not even going to be able to create any type of cryptocurrency or project in Russia at all. Local lawyers fear that if these laws are enforced, they will paralyze the Russian cryptocurrency industry. Dmitry Kilrov, a senior tax lawyer at Brian K. Lighton Peisner, a long ass name, but usually these law firms are, and a teacher at Moscow Digital School, told RBC, people who currently own cryptocurrencies will be forced to get rid of them before the law comes into force or risk going underground. That's what I would definitely do. Goals that will be achieved this way are the direct opposite of what's being declared. In general, the idea of dropping a crypto iron curtain, in my opinion, does not contribute to the development of businesses or Russia's interaction with the world economy on a digital level. Obviously, you're going to get left behind, Russia. And this is what I always tell people. It's very, very interesting here. This is where small countries have an opportunity to shine. This is where small individuals have an opportunity to shine, right? It's early, but if you get involved, because this is going to happen no matter what. Cryptocurrency, blockchain, Bitcoin, it's going to happen no matter what. It will, it's happening. People ask me, what do you think is going to happen to Bitcoin? Do you think yes, it's going to be adopted. Yes, blockchain is going to be a thing. It already is a thing. It's here. It's being used, more efficient, better system. If it's more efficient, it creates value, saves people money, it's going to be used. Right? I always use this example of Uber. Uber could easily be decentralized, right? And if you are trying to get a ride to the airport from your house and Uber costs you $100 and the decentralized version costs you $80, which one are you going to choose? Obviously, you're going to choose one that costs you $80 because it's the same service, right? And even better, who do you think is going to have more people wanting to drive for them, Uber or the decentralized Uber? Because in Uber, maybe the driver keeps $70 on that trip. But in the decentralized version, the driver is going to keep $79, right? And $1 left is going to go to feeding the token economy, rewarding the people that secure the network and things like that. So that's an example of a more beneficial decentralized system that obviously will be adopted because it's better. Because it's better for the drivers, it's better for the passengers, it's literally better for everybody. It's a more efficient system. So this is just the beginning, people. I think that that countries and the powers that be haven't really fully understood the implications of what blockchain and decentralization will do. I've been talking about this for a while. There's going to be massive pushback. When, right now there's an immense struggle between regulators, governments, people who have been so used to being able to control things, big corporations, lobbying power. These guys have been able to control everything because they have a grip on everything. But it's much more difficult to control something that's decentralized, right? Especially if it becomes as powerful as something like Bitcoin network. So it's going to be interesting. And eventually these systems will come out on top. But we are going to war, right? And I'm not sure what that's going to look like, but it's going to be pretty wild. one thing here Russia doesn't really understand is that you can't really stop your citizens from participating in this, right? They can create something, centralize it, and then they have no more power over it, right? Furthermore, if you want to buy, if I was in Russia, what I would do is I would just go on holiday somewhere. You know, if it was too scary or risky to go buy, like, I don't know, maybe if they're super serious, maybe they're gonna, you know, you go try to buy some Bitcoin on the street in Russia, the KGB is gonna be there, you know, shooting your ass or like arresting you or whatever. So if that's the case, if it becomes that serious, what I would do if I was in Russia, I would just hop the border, go somewhere and buy my Bitcoin, and no one would ever know. The Russians can never find out that that's the case. So maybe Russia shoots itself in the foot because they are going to completely eliminate the ability to become a competitor in the world virtual and global digital economy. But I promise they can't stop their citizens from participating, and they won't. Be ready for it. All right, and the second thing I want to talk to you about is this article that says hacker sells tens of thousands of Ledger, Trezor, and Keepkey users info. So you need to be really aware of this, right? And I after reading the article, I don't think that, you know, people are in any immediate threats. However, this is your money on the line. This is your crypto on the line, you know, your investments, your savings, whatever it is, and you need to be better safe than sorry, right? So I'm going to read this to you and then go ahead and check it out and, you know, make sure that you're safe. So the customer databases of Trezor, Ledger, and Keepkey have allegedly been listed for sale by the perpetrating hacker. The hacker that breached the Ethereum.org forum is allegedly selling the databases for the three most popular crypto hardware wallets, Ledger, Trezor, and Keepkey. The three databases contain the name, address, phone number, and email for more than 80,000 users combined. However, they do not contain passwords for the accounts. The hacker has also recently listed the SQL database for online investment platform Bank to the Future, which is something I use a lot, right? So I need to check out, I have Trezor, I have a Ledger, and I have Bank to the Future account. I also have a Keepkey, but I haven't used it yet. So, you know, I'm definitely gonna check this out. I just found out about this, so I'm sharing it with you now. It's important to, you know, make sure that you're all right. Ledger and Trezor databases reportedly compromised. On May 24th, cybercrime monitoring website Under the Breach spotted the hackers' new listing for the databases of the top hardware wallet providers. The hacker claims to be in possession of the account information corresponding to nearly 41,500 Ledger users, over 27,100 Trezor users, and 14,000 Keepkey users or customers. Chat logs posted to Twitter indicate that the data was stolen through exploiting a vulnerability in the popular e-commerce website platforms Shopify. So if you don't use Shopify or you haven't used any of your hardware wallets through Shopify, then you should probably be okay. But again, this is something that you want to check, you know, just go online, look at a Reddit forum, or, you know, just message your wallet provider directly and ask if there's anything that you should be aware of in particular. You know, it might be a good idea, just in case, it never hurts, to get a new hardware wallet and set that one up and transfer your funds from your old hardware wallet to your new hardware wallet. And then what I would do is I would just flash or reformat your old hardware wallet after you're done with, you know, transferring everything over safely, and then using it as a second wallet or a backup, whatever, you know, create a whole new account on it, your new phrases and things like that. So, however, a Shopify spokesperson told Cointelegraph that an internal investigation found no evidence to substantiate the hackers' claims and no evidence of any compromise of Shopify's systems. So, like, I don't need to read the rest of this to you, but basically it's something that you need to be aware of, and like I said, better safe than sorry. So you you always want to make sure that, I mean, when these things will come up quite often, right? And from reading it, it doesn't seem like they have any of the recovery seeds, you know, and I'm not really sure what this means when they talk about the fact that the databases contain name, address, phone number, and email, because my Trezor and Ledger don't have my name attached to it. They don't have my address attached to it. They don't have my phone number attached to it. They don't have my email attached to it, right? So really, I don't think that this is something to be very concerned about. However, definitely make sure that you're okay. You know, reach out, do a bit of research. Again, as someone who has been in the space for a long time and have had my funds stolen from me, I always want to make sure that I'm doing utmost security possible. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like the channel. It would mean so much to me. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber already. Please smash the bell. You know, that way you know when I make new videos. That would be great. And yeah, guys, thanks so much. We'll catch you on the next one.